Hello, welcome back, my mature skin babes. Today I have something really fun planned for you. We are going to be doing an ultra quick, simple application using my Seint compact here that's full of 3D products and the Demi products. Plus, I have a brand new blush that has just come out on the market. It's all the rage on TikTok, and we're gonna demo it today to see how it works for mature skin. This is the Oh Glassy blush. It's supposed to be activated by our individual pH levels to create the perfect pink flush for our own skin type. Give this a try, so stick around till the end so we can see how pretty this is and if it actually works. So today, like I said, I'm going to be using my custom palette. If you want a custom palette like this makeup will be picked perfectly to match your skin. All you have to do is go to my free color consultation in the bio. But today we're going to be working out of my compact that is matched for my skin. And we are going to be using our fingers for some of this because I want you to see how easy cream products are for you to work with. Literally anybody can do this. If you don't feel like you're good at makeup, if you feel like your skin is too old or whatever it might be, I'm going to show you how easy this goes on. So today I'm going to be using the shape brush to start, but I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to apply my bronzer to the areas that I want in certain colors. So if you've watched my tutorials before, you know that I use two different bronzers because I have discoloration. I have melasma on my face, and I find that if I put some bronzers on top of different areas, it looks muddy and murky, even kind of dirty. So I like to use two in different areas in order to get a really pretty application that's super natural. So I'm going to use Bella to start with, and I stuck my finger in it. And what I'm gonna do is bring Bella across my forehead like this. So you can see, like, super easy, not that big of a deal, right? Then I'm gonna take Bella again, and I know that I want a little bit of Bella in my hollow of my cheekbone to give myself a little bit of sculpt. I could use a contour for this, but the reason I'm using Bella and the reason I'm using a Seint cream bronzer is because it doesn't have as much opacity. It's maybe more about like a 50 to 60% opacity, so it's a little bit lighter, and I like that. I prefer it to be lighter. So I think I need a little bit more right here though. Okay, so that's about as much bronzer of Bella bronzer that I want. So I'm gonna take my shape brush and I'm just going to work that bronzer out to a really pretty glow, okay? I just like it to be really natural and to just sit on my skin, enhancing and adding color, not to be like noticeable makeup. For me, the goal is to always be told that my skin just looks so pretty. I don't really ever like to be told, oh my gosh, your makeup's so pretty. That's just not my vibe. It's just not what I really like. I like to be bragged about with pretty glowy skin. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this bronzer, and I like to use my brush in just like circular motions, and you want to take it back into your hairline. The way that this application works, which I call the fusion method, it's a lot of a lighter handed application. So really it's best that we work around our face and not just layer everything on at once. Besides, if you layer everything on at once, you end up using too much product. It can sit really heavy on mature skin. And on top of that, either something gets oversaturated with color or it gets diluted with darker color. So I like to do it this way so that I get a really pretty even look. Now I'm gonna wipe my finger off a little bit and I'm gonna go to my tan line bronzers. And I know that I like a little bit of tan line in my temple, and I'm just gonna do a dot there and a dot there. And I like tan line more on the higher part of my cheekbone because if I put Bella up here, it enhances a lot of that melasma and it looks dirty. And then I want a little bit of tan lines along my lower jaw here. So I enhance and bring in a little bit of color there. Just kind of make sure I get all of it off. And then I do like a little bit right here and a little bit right here. So taking that same brush, gonna wipe my finger off so I don't get it in my hair. Taking that same brush, circular motions, kind of go back up to the Bella on my temple. I don't want a heavy color on my temple because we lose a lot of volume here as we age. So if you put something in there, it could hollow it out more and make it look more drawn in. My goal is to lift out. I want just a little bit of coverage there. And then I want to take that that tan lines right on my higher cheekbone there. And then lower, I'm starting on this side and working it back because I want to add coverage here. Now, if you wanted a foundation or a highlight to go in here, because Seint does cream highlights, you could put a cream highlight in this area and in this area as well. I just prefer, like I said, products with less opacity. Bronzer for me does that because it's not as much coverage as like foundation is. So I like to work this way, but if you were somebody who wants more coverage, then all you would do is use a Seint highlight in this area as well, one of the 3D cream highlights. And I'll color match you for that as well to help you pick the right shade for you. So same thing, going into my temple and right above here. Now I will kind of peek and just double check that this coloring is all how I want it. Sometimes doing it in the phone gets a little bit tricky. I do feel like I could use a little bit more Bella right here. The goal with the contouring, which I'm using bronzer in this contouring area, is to just add shadow to my cheekbone. Now, I don't want to go into these crazy applications where it's lifting it up higher or lower. I think really what that does has the opposite effect. So I'm really just wanting to be naturally into where that hollow is and add that structure back in. I want just a little bit more tan lines right there. And that's the cool part about this. You can just kind of tap it where you want a little bit more to build the area to the coverage that you want. I do want to do a little bit of bronzer on the side of my nose. So I'm going to take tan lines on both of my fingers and I'm going to kind of tap it where I want to kind of pinch in and make it a little bit thinner looking. I will take my brush and kind of blend that out. Next up, I want to contour out my nose a little bit. This part is totally optional. If you don't like to contour your nose, don't do it. I just think it gives my nose a little bit better of a look. So I'm going to use the bright brush and I'm going to use the small side of it and start going in and lightly adding some shadow. So right here on the bridge, the upper part of my nose here, I'm going to be using indigo. If you want to use a Demi sculpt, I would use NV+1 in this area. So for me right here, I have like a little bit more yellow, sallow, jaundicey sort of look to my skin at the upper part of my bridge. So I want to use something that's got a little bit more violet to it, something that's got a little bit more like saturation, just so that I can bring in a good little sculpt to that area. Once I have that upper shadow the way that I want, I'm going to use a little bit of NR in order to kind of create the rest of the bridge of my nose. If you wanted something similar in a contour, you could use stone to do this. I like to keep a skinnier bridge, like a skinnier center. For me, it just gives a better look. If you go too far on the sides, you can end up doing the opposite effect and making your nose look bigger. So I like to keep it much, much skinnier and smaller down the center. And I'll just blend it up to the indigo color. I will take a little bit of this and go down the tip of my nose right here. And then I'll take that Bella bronzer and I'll come in on the sides here. Oops, I have a bit too much. I'm gonna wipe it on my hand. And then I'm just going to take that and kind of sweep across the bridge, or I'm sorry, sweep across the tip and down the side. I'll take another brush and just kind of pat out any lines that seem a little bit sharp or a little bit too dramatic, because I don't want lines. I want you to be able to just have shadow on any side of my face, no matter where I turn, just so that I get a really good contour that's not noticeable in the sunlight. I want to be able to go to the park in the direct sunlight and not have noticeable contour. Okay, the only thing I'm going to do left on my nose is just a little bit of VR1, and I need a mirror to do this. I'm gonna get my other mirror and bring it close. I want to just get a little bit of brightness down the center of my nose. Now that I have my nose the way that I want to go to my under eyes, so I'm going to wipe off my brush. I like to keep two tiles together. It's hard. I like to be like big and sloppy when I do this. So now that I have my bright brush ready to go, I'm going to just focus on the dark areas of my under eyes because I want this application to be quick and I want it to be pretty easy. I'm going to use 01 to delete away these under eyes. Sometimes I use 03. It just depends on how much sleep I've had or stress or allergies. There's a lot of things. It just depends on the excess color, how much I need. And then I'm going to use OR1 and I'm going to kind of go right in my water trough here. It's a little bit more of like a bluish green. So I want to get rid of that. Honestly, you guys, this method for under eyes is life-changing. I really hate makeup texture. I hate if it sits on my skin and it just looks like makeup. Like I want to be able to get into a magnification mirror and not be able to see the product, and that's the goal with this. And I think that if you take the time to learn your colors and where to apply them, you really are going to have the best under eyes of your life. Right here in this inner corner, I need a little bit of the OR1 because that is the same bluish green tone. Same over here. Now, each of our under eyes are slightly different. You might have different color or a different excess in different parts, but the application's the same. The way that I'm applying this is the same. It's exactly how you're going to do it. You're just going to be targeted to those dark areas. You pick your 3 darkest areas of your under eyes first, and that's where you start. I did get a little bit of dysport over the weekend or during the week, and I want to get rid of these little teensy bruises. And I'm just going to use 03 to do it, and they'll just literally bing, bom, boom, like disappear. I know I have one right there. They're just teensy. I like to put a little bit of VR1 under my under eye as well in that same area right here. I just feel like I'm a little sallow right there, and I just like that VR1. It just gives like the best little pop. I don't need much. All right, some of the other areas I'm going to delete. I don't like the discoloration around my lips, so I'm going to use a little bit of 01, and I'm just going to touch that. It takes like 20 seconds to do all of this. See, it just gets rid of that discoloration, and it looks so much better. And I do need a little YO1 on my Sunstash, which as much sunblock as I wear, sometimes it just comes back. But I just touched the like ashy areas with the YO1 and it gets rid of them. This kind of application lasts all day. Okay, a little bit of 03 in just a couple areas over here. Just like some bigger melasma stuff. And then you can see right here I have some melasma in this area that drives me kind of crazy, and depending on temperatures, how much I've been in the sun, even though I wear sunblock multiple times a day, it can still pop out. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of 03 and get some of the areas that I know delete with the 03. And then I will show you one other thing that I do. Okay, so I need the spot brush for this because I need to be more targeted. YO1, and I'm going to hit the darker ashy purpley points of the melasma with the Y01. Now, it may seem like this takes forever, but I assure you that it does not. It's just a different way of doing your makeup. I haven't taken the time to put on primers and powders and potions. Like, all I'm doing is going right to doing my face, and this will last all day for me. So it's just a different way, and there's no layers. So think about that when you're focused on your own face. Okay, I'm going to do just a few little contouring things. I want like more of a pout under my lip, just to add a little bit of volume. And I do want to add a little bit of sculpt under my eye, just for a little enhancement. This is just one of my favorite lip glosses, so I'm going to put a little bit of this on. Nothing big. I just like just a little bit of gloss. Okay, now if you wanted to have a bit more structure, you could take contour at this point, and you could add a little bit more contour into the shadow of your face. If you want a bit more like structured lift, contours will have a lot more opacity, meaning they're darker, they don't let light in, no skin shows through. So you definitely want to be light-handed, but you can use these in order to get more of a lift and structure out your facial features just a little bit more, but like tap in and pull it up. You can bring in a little bit of contour around your hairline, but because I added bronzers and did all of my enhancement to begin with, I don't really want a lot, maybe just a tiny bit to just bring in a little bit more structure to my face. Okay, now for the part that I think everyone's been waiting for. Let's demo this new clear blush. It literally is just like totally clear. Like literally so clear. Okay, I've heard you just have to use a tiny bit. So I'm gonna get just a tiny bit here, and you can see like it's like already changing just on my fingertip. So I like blush to be natural, and because I think the point of this is a really pink flush, like a natural flush, I'm going to keep it just on the apples of my cheek. Oh my gosh, you guys. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Let's do the other side, and then I'm gonna show you a trick. So cool. I'm obsessed with this. This is right up my alley for mature women. And it feels like once it's like drying, it's not as shiny and it's not as tacky. Like it felt like that right in the very beginning, but now that it's drying, it's definitely not giving me the tacky vibes. Okay, I'm gonna show you something, because if you're like me and sometimes you get a little bit of like some rosacea, pinkish or purpley tones within your cheeks, I'm gonna show you how you can fix that with your Demi color. So I'm going to take my bright brush, make sure I wiped it off because I can't remember if I did. And then I'm gonna take a tiny bit of 03. I'm just gonna tap it into the 03. So I've got just a little bit on there. And then I'm just gonna go hit the areas within my cheeks that are a little bit more like pronounced. You know what I mean? Like those colors are just a little bit more like just like they're not balanced. Like I'm just going to balance it by deleting the areas within my cheeks that are a little bit unbalanced. I'm literally just touching them. I am not a powder your full face kind of girl, but if there are a few areas that are just a little bit too shiny, you can take it down with just a loose translucent powder and just barely hit those areas. This blush is a winner for me, you guys. I I love that it's like a color that is created just by my own pH level. Like it's just me, and I freaking love that. I love it. So just for reference, this is the O Glassy. It's a clear blush. It's amazing. So good. I love it. Okay, so if you guys have questions about building your own mature skin makeup palette, which is what I specialize in, this is a very good representation of what they look like. I can get you a color match. It's virtual. It takes 2 minutes. You'll get a match back within 24 hours. I have posted it in the comments below, and it's also in my profile as always. So thanks for hanging out with me. Drop a comment, say hi, let me know that you're here, and ask me anything you want about mature skin. So thanks again so much. I will see you guys next time. Bye.